Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin. I thought this vacation would bring us closer together. Instead, it became the breaking point of our marriage. My wife, Naomi, and I had been married for 10 years. Life was good in many ways. We had two beautiful children who were our pride and joy. But over time, something had shifted between us. Like most parents, we got caught up in the endless cycle of responsibilities. School runs, work deadlines, doctor appointments, and everything else that came with raising a family. By the time we fell into bed at night, we were too exhausted to talk, let alone connect on a deeper level. Our days felt like they were running on a loop. I would wake up early to help get the kids ready for school while Naomi handled breakfast. After work, we tag-teamed dinner, homework, and bedtime routines. Then we'd sit silently in front of the TV before calling it a night. Weekends weren't much better, packed with errands and kids' activities. Somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, we had lost us. It wasn't always like this. Back when we were dating, Naomi and I could spend hours talking, laughing, and just enjoying each other's company. But now, even when we had free time, it felt like we didn't know what to do with it. Conversations had turned into discussions about bills or who would take the kids to soccer practice. That's when I suggested the vacation. A break from the routine sounded like exactly what we needed. No kids, no work, just the two of us, reconnecting like we used to. I pictured long walks on the beach, candlelit dinners, and lazy mornings where we could finally talk without interruptions. I believed this trip could help us remember why we fell in love in the first place. She agreed without hesitation. Maybe she felt the distance too, or maybe she just wanted a change of scenery. Whatever the reason, we booked a tropical getaway, a chance to hit reset on our relationship. I was hopeful, even excited. We arrived at the resort early in the morning. The warm sun, the sound of waves crashing against the shore, and the laughter of carefree tourists filled the air. The beach was breathtaking. White sand stretching for miles, crystal clear water glimmering under the sunlight. For a moment, it felt like the perfect escape. Our first day was filled with small joys. We walked hand in hand along the shoreline, letting the waves wash over our feet. Naomi giggled when a small crab scurried past her toes, and I couldn't help but smile. It was the first time in weeks I'd heard her laugh like that. At dinner, we shared a candlelit table overlooking the ocean. The sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, and we talked about how much we needed this break. It felt good, like we were starting to connect again. But even amidst the smiles and laughter, I noticed the cracks. She spent more time on her phone than I liked, scrolling through social media or texting friends. When I asked her to join me for a sunrise walk the next morning, she shrugged it off, saying she needed to catch up on sleep. It wasn't a big deal, but it stung. In those quiet moments, when we weren't distracted by the beauty around us, the distance between us became more obvious. I caught her staring off into the distance more than once, her face thoughtful, almost wistful. When I asked what she was thinking about, she brushed it off with a vague, nothing important. I didn't press her, but deep down, I wondered if she was as invested in this trip as I was. Still, I held on to hope. After all, we were here to fix things, to find each other again. Or so I believed. But sometimes when you ignore the cracks, they only get bigger. One evening, the beach was alive with energy. A perfect blend of chaos and joy. The sun had dipped low into the horizon, casting an orange glow over the ocean waves. The air was filled with the rhythmic beats of Afro-Caribbean music, the crash of waves against the shore, and bursts of laughter from the crowd gathered for the night's festivities. Vendors moved through the throng, shouting out offers for cold drinks and snacks, their colorful carts adding even more flair to the lively scene. At the heart of the activity was a makeshift stage surrounded by tiki torches, their flames flickering in the warm evening breeze. A lively announcer, microphone in hand, hyped up the crowd, calling for participants to join the much-anticipated dance competition. Among the crowd stood Naomi, her face lit with the same excitement that had first drawn me to her years ago. She had always loved dancing, and tonight was no different. She leaned toward me, her eyes sparkling. "I want to do it," she said. almost like a child asking for permission. Before I could answer, she was already slipping off her sandals and stepping toward the stage. I didn't think much of it at first. She loved these kinds of moments, being in the spotlight, feeling the energy of the crowd. It was just her way. I stayed back, settling into my seat with a drink in hand, watching her navigate through the crowd with an eager smile. Then he appeared, her dance partner, a young, charismatic local with a confident stride and an easy smile that could charm anyone. His athletic build and sun-kissed skin suggested he spent a lot of time in the ocean or playing sports. His movements were smooth and sure, like he owned the dance floor. Before the music even started, he introduced himself with a bow that made Naomi giggle. She gave him her hand, and from that moment, it was as if I didn't exist. They started dancing, and I watched as he twirled her effortlessly, making her laugh and blush. She seemed so carefree, so alive. At first, I thought maybe this was good for her. She deserved to have fun. But as the dance continued, a knot began to form in my stomach. The way he held her waist, the way she leaned into him, it was too much. I stood there on the sidelines, clapping awkwardly with the rest of the crowd, but I felt like I was in a different world. The cheerful music felt like a mocking tune in my ears. Each laugh, each lingering touch felt like a stab to my chest. When the music ended, I walked up to her, trying to keep my voice calm. "Can we talk for a minute?" She frowned, but followed me a few steps away from the crowd. "What are you doing out there?" I asked, struggling to keep my voice steady. She sighed. "It's just a dance, Eli. We're on vacation. Can't I have a little fun?" I tried to explain how it made me feel, but she didn't seem to care. Her tone grew sharper. "We're married, but you don't own me." Her words hit me like a slap. I wasn't trying to control her, I just wanted her to see how much this was hurting me. But in that moment, I realized she didn't care how I felt. "If you go back out there and dance with him again," I said quietly, "you won't find me here when you come back." She laughed as if I were making some kind of joke. Then, without a word, she turned and walked back to him. I stood frozen, watching her spin and laugh with a stranger. And that's when I knew. Our marriage had been broken for a long time. I had just been too blind to see it. So I walked away. After I left the island alone, the silence that once haunted our home became my only companion. I hadn't heard from Amanda since that night. Not a call, not a text. Maybe she thought I was bluffing. Maybe she didn't care. I stayed with a friend for a few days, trying to gather my thoughts. My kids were with Amanda's sister, and I didn't want them to see me like that. Angry, broken, confused. I stared at my phone more times than I could count, expecting some kind of message from her, but it never came. Instead, it was me who reached out. We met at a quiet cafe near the house. The tension between us was thick, almost suffocating. She looked tired, worn down, and so did I. For a moment, we just sat there in silence, sipping coffee like strangers. Then she spoke. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," Amanda said, her voice low. I felt alive for the first time in years, and that scared me." I nodded, not out of agreement, but understanding. We had been dead inside our marriage for so long, both of us seeking something we couldn't name. For her, it was laughter and attention. For me, it was peace, a reminder that love was supposed to feel like something, not nothing. "I get it," I replied. "But you walked away from me that night. You didn't even look back." "I was angry," she admitted. "And lost. And maybe I'd already let go before we ever booked that trip." We sat there for what felt like hours, unpacking years of silent resentment. The missed moments, the loneliness, the blame. It didn't matter whose fault it was anymore. We had both contributed to the slow unraveling of something that once felt unbreakable. In the end, we agreed on the only thing that made sense. It was time to let go. Not out of hate, not out of spite, but because holding on any longer would only leave us bitter. We deserved more, both of us. And most importantly, our children deserved to see love in its truest form, even if that meant their parents no longer shared the same roof. We decided to co-parent with love, respect, and honesty. We explained it gently to the kids who cried and asked why, but eventually understood. Months passed. Amanda found a small apartment not far from the kids' school. I moved back into the house, turning what once was ours into something new. We created a schedule. We communicated better than we had in years, oddly enough, because now there was no pressure to be what we no longer were. One day, while dropping the kids off, she smiled at me. "You look lighter," she said. "Maybe because I finally stopped trying to fix what was never mine to fix alone." We shared a long look, one of quiet respect. Some stories don't end with reconciliation. Some end with realization. And ours ended with peace. Moral lesson. Love isn't sustained by shared responsibilities or routines alone. It thrives on connection, communication, and intentional effort. When a relationship begins to wither in silence, pretending everything is fine only deepens the cracks. Sometimes letting go is not a failure, but a courageous step toward healing, self-respect, and rediscovery. Never ignore the quiet signs that something is broken. And remember, peace is better than pretending. Thank you, my amazing subscribers. Wow, what a journey. If you've made it to the end of this story, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Your support means everything to me. Every time you watch, like, and comment, you're helping keep this channel alive and growing. And trust me, the best is yet to come. I see all your comments. I feel your love, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your thoughts and feedback inspire me to create even more powerful stories. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. More shocking twists, emotional journeys, and real-life lessons are on the way, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Together, we're building an incredible community, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. See you in the next story.